All right, let's dive right in. We're going to tackle a question today that I think pretty much everyone earning money in Bangladesh has asked at some point. Why is some of your income just gone before it even hits your bank account? Let's figure it out.
You've definitely had this feeling, right? You see the big number, the gross amount, and then you see the number that actually lands in your account, and there's a gap. Well, that gap is usually because of something called tax at source, and today we're going to break down exactly what that is and how it all works.
So think of it this way. It's the government's method for collecting tax in real time. Instead of you having to save up and pay a giant lump sum at the end of the tax year, the system takes little bits all along the way right from the source of the income. It's basically a prepayment plan for your taxes, making life a whole lot easier for everyone.
To really get our heads around this, we're just going to follow the money. We'll start with the deductions on your paycheck. Then we'll look at businesses and investments. After that, we'll get into the really crucial rules that everybody needs to know. And finally, we'll see how all these little payments actually add up to help you out.
Okay, let's begin where most of us bump into this for the very first time, our salary. So what exactly is being taken out, and who's the one actually doing the taking? The main idea here is pretty simple. Whoever is paying you is the one responsible for deducting the tax. So for most of us, that's our employer, right? They estimate your tax for the whole year and just take a piece of it out each month. The exact same logic applies to government employees, to members of parliament getting honorariums, and even to money going into worker welfare funds.
Now let's zoom out a bit and look at the business world. Because if you're a freelancer, a contractor, or you run your own company, tax at source is a huge part of your financial life. It applies to a massive range of transactions.
And the list of situations is, well, pretty long. We're talking everything from big construction contracts and IT services all the way to licensing a trademark or getting paid for an acting gig. For every single one of these, the tax deduction rules are in full effect. So let's check out some of the specific rates.
So you can see right away how much the rates can change depending on what you're doing. For a general contract, for example, the tax deduction maxes out at 10%. But if you're providing a professional or technical service, that maximum rate shoots all the way up to 20%. And then you have these other special categories like media ads or payments to actors that have their own unique rates.
Now, here's an interesting one, especially for creatives and innovators. For intellectual property, things like royalties or copyright fees, the tax rate actually changes based on the amount of money involved. The first 25 lakh taka gets taxed at 10%. But once you cross that line, anything above that amount is taxed at a higher rate of 12%.
You know, tax at source isn't just about the money you earn from your job. It also applies to the money your money makes. We're talking about your investments, your savings, and your property.
So when you earn interest, your bank just handles the deduction automatically. It's 10% for individuals and double that, 20% for companies. But look at this dividend part. This is key. If you have a taxpayer's identification number, a 10, the tax is 10%. But if you don't have one, you're going to pay 15% on the exact same dividend payment. It's a really clear financial reason to get a 10.
Property deals are also covered big time. If you're renting your property to a company or certain other types of tenants, they have to deduct 5% from your rent as tax. If the government buys your property, they'll deduct tax right from the payment they give you, 6% if it's in a city, 3% if it's outside. And for landowners making deals with developers, a hefty 15% is deducted from payments.
So, we've seen where tax is supposed to be deducted, but what happens if the rules aren't followed? This next part is super important for anyone who's paying or receiving money in Bangladesh.
This right here is the government's #1 tool for making sure people file their taxes. It's simple. If you're getting paid, but you can't show proof that you submitted your tax return, the tax that gets deducted at the source automatically jumps up by 50%. That's a huge incentive to stay compliant. And the penalty isn't just for the person getting the money. Oh no. If you're the one who's supposed to make the payment and you fail to deduct the right amount of tax, you get hit with an extra charge of 2% per month on the amount you missed. That can really add up fast. This is the official legal language, and accession default is a term you do not want applied to you. What it means is that the law now sees the person who is supposed to deduct the tax as being the one who owes it. You become personally responsible for the tax that wasn't collected, plus all the penalties that come with it. Okay, I know. After hearing about all those rules and penalties, it's easy to think this whole system is just another tax grab. But it's not. And in our final section, we're going to see how the system is actually designed to work for you. Here's the whole journey. Step 1, the tax gets deducted. Step 2, the The person who deducted it has to give you a certificate as proof. This piece of paper is your evidence. And finally, step 3. When you file your annual tax return, you declare the total amount of tax that's already been paid for you, and it gets counted as a credit against your final tax bill. See? It's a payment, not a penalty. So at the end of the day, the system is just a way to pay your taxes as you earn. The most important thing you can do is be proactive. Always get your tax deduction certificates. Make sure every single taka that was taken at the source is accounted for when you file your return. That's how you make sure the system is working for you, not against you.